When I started my watercolor journey, a friend of mine recommended to me to start with oil painting first, as it doesn't dry too fast and I'll have more time to think and apply whatever I learned to my painting. I took his advice and got myself a few oil paint tubes and turpentine and started my painting. It turned out I had a horrible allergic reaction to turpentine, which it didn't let me sleep all night, and my heart felt like I was running the whole time. At the time, I didn't know that I could just use walnut oil or linseed oil to clean my brushes and just use a oil paint brand that is soft enough that doesn't need a solvent. So I gave up on oil painting altogether and continued painting in watercolor. I absolutely love watercolor, and I still think that is one of the most exciting and fun mediums to use. I was very excited to get better as fast as possible and took a lot of online courses and workshops, and also read a lot of books. But the biggest problem that I had was that my paper would just dry really fast and felt like I didn't have time to think or do any adjustments before my paper was dry. I tried different kind of papers, comparing them together, and I found that Saunders watercolor paper is the best regarding to staying wet for longer, a lot longer than Arch. But still, it made me feel like I have no time, and kind of it gave me anxiety to think fast and move fast, and it was just a stressful situation for me for a long time. The one thing that I didn't know, and I don't remember anybody really talk about it, was that to actually use more water, which may sound obvious, and I thought I was using enough water, but I wasn't actually, and I learned that after I was actually using a lot of water, especially in the first washes and first color applications. Once I learned how much more water I actually have to use, I realized that I had a lot more time to think and decide about my next brushstroke, and it just made the whole process 10 times easier for me. I think that watercolor is a master's medium, and there are a lot of things that you have to think about before even picking up your brush. And just having more time to think about your next moves is going to be a huge help, especially for the beginners. I hope that you found this tip helpful, and now I'm going to talk about how I painted this simple beginner's landscape. So I started my painting by wetting some sections in the sky area. So I didn't wet the whole area, and I tried to make some interesting marks even with just water. So later that I add my color, it can give me some interesting effects. I started by adding Prussian blue, and then I mixed a kind of a raw sienna, but I added a tiny touch of opera pink to it to warm it up a little bit more. I made sure to drag the colors and water over the mountains, so I didn't stop on top of the mountain. This can create better harmony in the painting. Then I painted the grass and dried everything using a hairdryer. After everything was dry, I painted the mountains and I tried to have some variety in the colors. So I added some red to some parts and I tried to reduce the value on the other right side of the mountain. Then I wetted the area for the trees and did the same thing with the trees too. I tried to vary the colors, add some more burnt sienna or raw sienna or more French ultramarine to have variety in color. This is very important and it can help you to have more interesting results in your paintings. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy painting!